Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week on the Cyclekart I'm working on the wooden steering wheel rim. See you in a minute. Now, having got the metalworking sorted for the rim in aluminium the other week, it's time now to add a wooden rim to it, and I need to do it at this stage because once the spokes are in, I fear I'm not going to be able to mess around with routers and milling machines and things like that. So I need to get all the wooden parts cut out, shaped, fitted loosely, and then I can take it all apart, fit all the spokes, and then the actual woodwork will go back on as a last minute adjustment and final finishing job. So let's take a look at that and see how we're going about it. Just drawing around a quadrant of the wheel in plywood. What I'm going to do with that then, once that's done, is to cut that out on the bandsaw, and then that will give me a template that I can use to make lumps of wood, hardwood, that will be, I don't know, about 10 or 15 mil thick, I suppose, and that will give me the shape I need that will stick on in quadrants, either joined at each spoke centre, and then I can start and round them, but they should all be the same. We can try it out from there. As I said, the wheel rim is now about 20 mil. I've just taken another skim off the edge, 21. Material I think was 5 mil thick, 4 mil. So 21 less 4 is 17. Divided by 2 is 8.5. So I want something about 9 or 10 mil thick either side, and that should then give me enough material to work with to make it into a half round shape, and from there on, obviously, that will once we've got that done, I can just check that now on all of the quadrants and make sure it's the same. It's always a little bit, the radii should be the same, but certainly the corners are probably a bit, that one's a little bit cut out where it should be rounded, but I'm not going to worry too much. Hopefully the places where the spokes come, where the wood comes into the middle, I'll probably fill the sides and make it all wood anyway. But yeah, they're all the same. So if I cut that template out now on the bandsaw, I can then use that and cut out my hardwood segments and get 8 of those made. Now I've ended up making 2 different sets of templates because I thought that if you put that arrangement on both sides of the wheel, you effectively get a weak point at that junction of the 4 quadrants. So what I'm going to do is do one side of the wheel like that and the other side like that, so that the arrangement will be that there's a joint effectively there and a joint there on the steering wheel. It just staggers that joint. So we're going to find some hardwood. Just got to have a think about whether I want it like a mahogany, or I'm tempted towards something like maple that would be a lighter wood. Both of them are non-prototypical anyway, so it's probably down to a matter of preference more than anything else. Right, that's temporarily fixed the rim on one side. What I'm going to do then is to just sand it back so that it's close to the aluminium, and then I can run the router around that final last bit with the bearing running on the aluminium, and it will make it exactly the same size as the aluminium. And then once that's done, I can put the round over on it so that it starts to become half a steering wheel, and then I'll repeat that by doing the same thing on the opposite side. The joints are slightly staggered. I originally was going to put the joints completely 90 degrees apart, but it caused problems because the joint was right where all the spokes are coming in, so I wanted to maintain that. But what that will do is give us a steering wheel that's that thick but circular when I put the other pieces on and do exactly the same thing on the back. But we'll get on with this on the sander and we can get half done anyway. It's got me pretty much where I want to be with that. It just needs the last probably millimetre or two taking back to the wheel with the router bit with the guide on it, but that is all of that side done, and it's only held on with masking tape effectively, so it'll come off because I need to take this all apart later on. I'll just need to make sure I've got all the all the joining positions marked so they're the same. You'll have noticed I was saving sawdust as I went. I've got a large container full of sawdust from that side. I'll do the same on the other. That will come in for just filling in joints in the wheel rim and things like that, carrying out, you know, any minor bits of filling that are needed as we go. But I'm happy with that. We'll put it now on the router table and get a guided bit on it to run around the aluminium, and that should give us the shape we want. And then we can move in with the router bit, which is around here somewhere. That is a router bit which will, again, it's got a guide bearing on the top. That guide bearing on the top will run on the aluminium, and in doing so that will go round and curve a quadrant sort of round on that part of the steering wheel. And then we'll do the same on the inside. That will give me the half round effectively, and then obviously take all these off, put the other ones on the other side, and that will give me the full circle of the wood with the aluminium rim. That's got the second side temporarily fixed on again, so we'll just do a rinse and repeat on that, cut that back to get the same size rim as on the other side, sand it down, and then we can think about getting the roundovers done. I'm not sure whether to do that right at the end, although all the spokes will be in the way, I suppose, so we'll have a look at it anyway. But that's pretty much ready now to start and do it. You can see. Okay, so I've got the router bit set up in the router table. It's a bit big to be comfortably using in a hand router, really. When you start to get these bigger bits running, there's a lot of metal turning at a fast speed, so I'm keeping it safer by using that. And that's got a curve on it like that, and we'll just go in very low to start with and start to just knock the corners off both sides and turn it round and round, and then hopefully go around the inside as well. And once we've got that done, we'll just gradually bring it up bit at a time until hopefully we've got the full curve on the rim. Let's give it a go. There we go, that's got me the rim sorted for the wheel. I'm pretty happy with that now. It'll need an awful lot of hand finishing, but now is not the time to be doing that hand finishing, because all of this, remember, is only held on with masking tape and super glue. This has only been done to get the shape, to get it right, so that we can then take it apart and then go into the mechanics of getting the spokes sorted, which these will clamp down on either side of. So that now has given me the rim that I wanted, the circle on the rim. You'll see there's one or two places where there's a little bit of chipping gone on, which tends to be a bit of a consequence of using the router. I'm not too worried about that, because we have harvested the box of dust from the sanding that we did, but this will, as I say, need a lot more hand sanding from now on, once the actual segments are glued with epoxy to the rim. And as a further embellishment, what I'm going to do then, I've got some, I think they're bookbinding pegs actually, they're small studded brass connectors that have got a screw in one end and a hole in the other with a thread in it. Push those through, drill a hole right the way through the rim, push those through so that they leave the little brass head hopefully just flush with the surface. Again, it should sand down to the shape and profile of the wheel. Screw it on at the back at the other side, and so you'll have like a secondary fixing as well as the epoxy, and it'll be a bit of embellishment all the way around the rim. Be 8 of those I think round the rim itself. But that's pretty much it for the woodwork part of it now. I shall now fall back upon doing the spokes and getting all that part finished. What I might do is just get an idea of what it's going to look like. I like to just give myself a little bit of instant gratification every now and again with these things. A little bit of teak oil should just give an indication of what this thing is going to look like when it's done. You can see that comes up nicely. And the joins aren't too prominent. By the time that's filled, sanded and with the dust, that should give you something which is workable, and it feels quite nice as well. It feels about the right. I was a bit worried it might be too small by the time I'd taken it down from about 25mm to 20, but that is now, let me just get me calipers. .22.5 the rim, and the thickness is about 27, so it's slightly fatter that front to back. Feels very nice. So we'll now take all these parts off, just flick them off like we did before, put them away, make sure I number them in order and side, because obviously those go together in a specific way now to fit on that. And by the time these things next come to meet up with the rim, all of this centre part will be gone, and hopefully there'll be spokes laid in that they'll have to fit up around, and we've got to make all that work. Right, well, I'm happy with that. It's got the result that I was hoping for. It's not perfect, but as I've said before, little in this life is. It's probably as good as I can make it, and at the moment it's in a very rough state because it hasn't got all the finishing sanding done on it yet. So hopefully once it's got sanding done and a coat of decent finish to it, it will be something that will be worthy of the Cyclekart. Hope it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be doing something different on the cart. I'll see you then. Bye!